This is Carl from National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2022 Flagstaff Super Lite travel trailer, model number 29 RBS, as in rear bathroom. Okay? So let me just, first of all, this is not a sales video or a floor plan video. It's just a how-to video. So I'm going to go through the trailer and around the trailer, just show you some of the features and how it works, okay? Okay. So first of all, we have our rear and front stabilizer jacks are powered. So you can see there they are right there. One switch will control the rear and one switch will control the front. All they have to do is find the switch here. Oh, right here. So this is the rear one. You can probably hear it. So that'll operate both rear, and there's a switch up front for both front, okay? You have a power awning with LED strip. An outside kitchen. This is the refrigerator works on 110 AC. Okay. Now you have a griddle here, which hangs on the side of the trailer. You see, you also have a quick connect LP hose here that goes with it. Also, you have when it comes to LP, you have this 2-burner cooktop. Now this also has a quick connect on it, so just keep in mind you have to plug this in. There's the quick connect there. In this case there's 2 of them here, I believe. Yes, 2 hookups. So your griddle will hang right here on the trailer, and you plug it in down there, and of course then you have this cooktop. So you've got a lot of burners going at this point, so you can get plenty of things cooking. Just remember you have to use the quick connect LP fittings to connect it to the LP system. Now this is just a sprayer. There's at least 1 port. I think there's 2 though, but we'll look around. There's the first one. You just hook it up and you can spray anything down, you know, kids, dogs, feet, bicycles, whatever you need to hose down, you can do it right there. There's also a utility table that comes with it that sits on this rail. You can see you've got a TV mount, and then you've got signal out and you've got power, so you can put a TV right there if you choose to. You also have outside speakers, and this right here is the vent for the range hood. So keep in mind you can push on each side edge or corner. There's a little latch. You can push up on those latches and the baffle inside flaps freely. Anytime you're venting to the outside, you want that to happen. You want to push those up so it flaps freely. When you're going down the road or in storage, you want that shut. But anytime you're venting to the outside, you have to open that baffle, okay? Refrigerator, or I'm sorry, this isn't the refrigerator. This is the water heater. So let's look here. This works on both gas and electric. The switches to operate it are inside. All the controls are inside. Just keep in mind this is where you drain it from. Right now this is empty. And it has, and the water heater is bypassed, so keep in mind the trailer's still winterized. But anyway, to remove the drain plug right here, it takes an 1'16" socket, 6-point socket. You also need about a 6-inch extension and then a socket or a bar to break it with. But that's how you drain it. There's also an anode rod attached to that also, okay? I'll show you the switches when we get inside. Now this hole right here, let me look and see what we've got here. Okay, I'm gonna try and get a picture of this. To see if I can do it here, because I got very bad lighting with this monitor and I can't tell you for sure. I think you can see it right there. There it is right there. So see that shaft with the pin through it? Okay, that you can actually crank the slide room at that point if you need to. If it was to fail, your slide room on the other side was to fail, you can actually crank it manually at that point. So keep that in mind. In an emergency, it can really get you out of trouble. Okay. Let me just walk up to the front here. Here's another one for the other slide room, I believe. Let me look and see. Ah, gosh, let me get down again. Pull this stuff off here. Okay, let me get down here so I can see. Sorry about the camera work. Yeah, and there's another one right there. So that's for the front most slide room. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Like I said, I can't, because of the sun, I can't see the monitor very well. Now, the crank that you would use for that is this one right here. I showed you it had a shaft with a pin through it. Well, this crank here let me turn away from the sun here. There's got to be a better way to see it here. Anyway, this crank has a cylinder with a slot cut in it that fits over that shaft with the pin through it, as you can see. So you can crank it using this and get yourself out of trouble. Now this smaller crank right here is for the power tongue jack. If the power tongue jack happens to fail, the jack is right here, of course, up and down in a hitching light. You can pull this plug out and you can put the crank on there and crank it manually, also to get yourself out of trouble if you ever need to, okay? Now, this is your hitch. It's a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. It's a good one. We'll show you how it operates when you come to pick up the trailer. It's very simple. We'll give you complete lessons on how to do that, okay? And I'm looking in here. I can see that piece you see back there, that's the rack that the griddle that I showed you, that hangs on the side of the trailer using that rack. We'll show you that when you pick up also. Alright, so 2 30-pound LP tanks, 2 deep cycle marine batteries. Now the reason you need 2 batteries for this trailer is because it inverts power, and it also, well, let's just start with the inversion. I'll tell you about that. Let me move this out of the way. Sorry about the camera work. I know you're getting seasick. This device right here is a power inverter. What it does, it takes 12-volt DC from the batteries and inverts it to 110 AC. Then it sends it into the trailer. This one, I'm sure, runs the refrigerator. So therefore, you can, if you're going down the road, you can turn on the inverter. It'll invert the power. It goes from 12-volt DC to 110 AC and then to the refrigerator. And then your tow vehicle will be charging the batteries using the tow vehicle's alternator. So it goes from the batteries, which are 12-volt DC, and then it's inverted here to 110 AC and sent to your refrigerator. Okay. Hopefully I explained that to you okay. This is the table I told you about. That's a dump hose. Okay. Let's move on a little bit here. You can always ask more questions when you pick it up also. Now, just so we know, this is the most common way to get water to this trailer is through the city water hookup. But this one has, like most trailers, has an onboard water tank too if you need to use it. So this is a freshwater tank fill right here. So if you're going to a campground that doesn't have plumbing on the campsites, you can actually pre-fill the tank and use the onboard pump to pump water. I mean, some of the older state parks, I'm sure you know, there's no plumbing on the campsites, but you can, there's a fill station when you first come in, so you would fill the tank there and then use the onboard pump to pump the water. All the plumbing will work just like you've got city water, but you'll be drawing it from your tank. If you have city water, you don't have to think about this at all. I mean, you can think about it if you want. Anyways, so this is a 50-foot, or excuse me, a 50 amp, 30-foot power cord, and you can see we've got reducers here for you. This is reducing it from 50 to 30. We have a 30 hookup. There's also one that reduces it down to 20, so you could plug it in at home when you're packing it, so you can use the lights and things. So you have that option too. Now, this is just an outside shower. It just hoses down kids and dogs and feet, just like the sprayer on the other side that I showed you with the coil. Hitch light. This is the city water hookup right here. That's the most common way to get water. You just hook your hose on there and you're all set. Now, this is the black tank flush right here. So after you dump your black tank, right, you can, here's some of your valves down here. After you dump your black tank, you can leave the valve open. You have to leave the valve open. Put a hose on here, turn it on. It'll spray the inside of the black tank off. Clean off your sensors, that sort of thing. So it's a good, if there's a working hose at the dump station, I recommend doing it any chance you get. So, okay. Now this one here is to draw antifreeze into the system. You'll have to educate yourself a bit about that, but if you're going to winterize, this is where you draw the antifreeze in. And of course we got cable and satellite through. Alright, so this has a backup camera, as you can see. We'll show you how that operates when you pick up. It's gonna, when you turn on your running lights, not just having your lights on automatic, you know, you have to physically turn it on with most tow vehicles, but if you do that, it'll light up your camera and you'll be able to see behind you. Also, you can see there's a ladder, which is a great thing, because the manufacturer states you should inspect your roof every 90 days. So you want to make sure somebody goes up there very carefully, of course, and looks at the roof, check the sealant, make sure there's no cracking or separation, make sure there's no damage to the roofing material or any attachments, you know, by low branches or road debris, that sort of thing. Okay. This right here, when we come inside, this is another adapter. I told you that goes down from 30 to 20. This is the rest of your backup camera. We'll show you how that works. Your control panel. Now, first of all, everything has an app. So if you need to use the apps, this is how you get them. Okay. So you got lights here. This is the Wi-Fi Ranger right here. The Wi-Fi Ranger is a signal booster, and it's on the roof. Basically, it's a booster for public Wi-Fi. So it'll go like this. With you and your family's devices, with your phones, let's say, you'll put this into your phone. You'll look at your Wi-Fi and you'll find 1010-1394. This is you. That's your Wi-Fi Ranger. So you put in a password, so it'll log on automatically to that. Then in a browser, you go to this address, which is at the bottom that says Control Panel, and you'll be able to see everything that the Wi-Fi Ranger sees. So you would pick out the campground Wi-Fi, and then you'd attach to it. So really all your devices all hook up to the Wi-Fi Ranger automatically, and then you have to go to the control panel and connect the Wi-Fi Ranger to the public Wi-Fi. It's a really super good signal booster. It works really good. Also in the middle there's a temporary password, Change Me Now 1394. That's what you'll use to get on the control panel till you change the password to something that you all know. Okay. Also, just as a footnote, there is a function where you can use cellular service with this system, but there would be a monthly payment. You'd have to go through your carrier and go that way. But right now, I'm just telling you about the free part, and that's what most people use. I mean, if people work out of their trailer, let's say they're salesmen or traveling nurses or whatever they are, well, a lot of times they'll have the cellular hookup, but for most people, Wi-Fi is what you need because you already have a phone. So. Okay, so looking a little farther, you have your two slide outs right here. You have your power awning right here. Never leave the awning out unattended. Always roll it in when you're not going to be there. You have your water, let's go this way, your water pump right here. That's for pumping fresh water out of the tank. It's also used to winterize the trailer. This is your water heater on electric. Like I said, it's empty because it's in bypass because it's winterized. You always have to make sure you have water in the tank before you turn this on, or the gas for that matter. That's the gas switch. You always make sure there's water in there. So after it's been winterized, it's going to be empty. And when the spring comes around, you want to orient the valves on the back of the water heater to summer mode, and then allow it to just fill up. Then you can turn it on. Never run it dry. All right. Also, this has tank heaters on it, so heating pads on the tanks right there. And that about covers that. There's, like I said, there are apps. Okay. Now, this I said earlier about inverting the refrigerator. I might have to revise that right now because I hadn't been in here yet. So let me look. Yeah, this is a 12-volt DC refrigerator, so the inverter does not send power to your refrigerator like I said earlier. Instead, on these Flagstaffs, what we're going to have is an inverted circuit. So right here, you can see it says inverter. So right now, if you have no AC electricity, right, but you have an appliance, a coffee maker or a hair dryer, just something like that, any appliance like that, you have to go to an inverted circuit, which is right here. And then you can plug it in, and it'll invert the 12 volts from your battery to 110 AC. But it doesn't do it on every plug. It only does it on that one, and probably one other one. I can't tell you for sure till I look, but yeah, this one also is inverted. So there you go. So keep that in mind. It's only certain receptacles are going to be inverted. And your refrigerator runs on 12 volt DC, so I was wrong about that. Okay, so while we're coming this way, this is your solar panel. Oh, let me get some light in here. That's your solar panel controller right there. Get some light over there so I can actually see. There we go. So, right now, this isn't set, so I'm going to set this for us right now. It says AGM battery, which is a gel battery. This has flooded batteries, so what I'm going to do is, you don't really have to know this part, I'm just doing it so I can show you. Right now it goes to AGM, so you're going to bring it over to flooded, and then you're going to get it to stay in that position. Oops, I went too far. Let me bring around again. Okay, give it a second here. There it goes. So now it's set on flooded. So the reason you have to do that, there's a lithium battery, and then there's a gel battery, and then there's the flooded battery. You've got those three options. The calculations it does are different, so you have to choose which type of battery you have. So now all we worry about is button B, which will scroll us through this thing. So right now we've got 13.6 volts coming from the batteries, right? Which is excellent. I push it this way. That's a picture of the sun, arrow going to the solar panel, so it's telling us we're gaining 5.2 amps from the sun. So 5.2 amps are being stored in your battery. Okay, so that's what we're gaining from the sun with the solar panels. You hit it again, and we're 100% charged with the batteries. And next, we have amp hours. So you look at these are the amp hours. The most common thing is the voltage you're putting out and what you're gaining from the sun. That seems to be interesting people the most. But you just push B. Now you can boost it and do things like that. You can read up on it. There is also an app for this too. You see there's a Bluetooth thing there. If you're stranded out nowhere, let's say, and you didn't have any cell power and it was empty, or empty, your phone is dead, you could plug it in here and use the solar panels and charge it. Just for an example, that's what this is for. So, okay. We'll go over all this with you again when you pick up. I know it's a lot of stuff to remember if you don't already know it. This is just your thermostat. It's, you know, you have zone and mode, and select the system. It's very simple, just like any other thermostat. Let's see which way I should go here. So, okay, so your TV can actually fold out, and you have storage. Always remember, you can see on that green LED right there, that's for the signal booster for the digital antenna. Now, if you want to shut it off, you can push this button. It's hard to see, but it'll shut off. But you want it on. If you're using the antenna, you want that on, or you won't get a good picture. Okay. Also, your sound here. Okay, so it plays CDs and DVDs. There's a slot right there. You can. It's got Bluetooth, so you can hook up wirelessly with your phone or tablet and stream. It has a USB here. Plus, this HDMI is an in. So if you wanted to go in the system with something, another device, you'd go in right there. It also has 3 speaker zones, 1, 2, and 3. 1 will be this room, 2 will be the bedroom, I believe, and then 3 will be outside. The thing about 3 is they call it Z3 or Zone 3. If you push this let's do it this way. If you're listening to or watching a video inside, you've got it set, you're watching a video. Now let's say you want to listen to the radio outside. So what you would do is you would push Z3, right, and then you would accept a source like FM radio and set the volume, right. Therefore you can listen to one thing or watch one thing inside and listen to something different outside by setting Zone 3 separately, okay, which is a good feature. A lot of them don't do that. Like I said, 3 zones. There are you have the AM FM radio, the usual stuff, and you got a clock and you can set presets, that sort of thing, but that's the main bulk of it right there. So you've got a lot of options when it comes to discs and sound and all that. So now down here, and also I must say there's a remote for this TV, there's a remote for this, and a remote for the fireplace. I'm going to look around a bit here and see where he's at. I'll keep my eyes peeled as I go, because I didn't actually see him yet. Oh, here it is right here. Okay, so this is your tire monitor right here. When this is set up, you can monitor the temperature of your wheels and the pressure in your tires. I didn't prep this trailer, so I'm sort of. This is this QAV. This is a cheat sheet for the radio, which tells you basically everything I told you about and more, so you can refer back to it. This is for the outside TV mount. This is the other half of it. I can go on and on, but right here are the 3 remotes, which is what I'm after. In this brown packet here, there's literature on everything in the trailer, so you can You can read it and educate yourself that way. Another way to do it is to go to manufacturers' videos. Those are good too. So this is your fireplace remote. This is your radio remote or stereo remote, and this is your TV remote. Okay. I'll just run this by hand here so we can get it through. I've only got like 27 minutes to do this video, so sometimes I got to talk fast. I get sidetracked, and I got to stay focused here. So turn it on like so. This is a space heater, so right now it's kicking out the heat. It's got temperature and everything right over there. If you can see, I don't know if you can see that very well or not, the way the glare is. It's in the upper right hand corner, but you can set the flame colors like that. If you can see, I'm going from blue to yellow, so on and so forth. You can check the intensity of the log right that way, right? And then of course your thermostat here, where you can set the different temperatures. It's also a space heater, so it has a fan, and you can set the fan to kick out. And the good thing about it is you have limited LP, so on those days where you don't quite need a furnace, you can just run this. It runs on AC power, and you don't have to use your limited supply of LP for heating, so it's a good thing. Okay, shut it off here. Okay, now this device here is the power converter. I showed you the inverter, which was in the front compartment. That inverts 12 volt DC to 110 AC, right? This does the opposite. It goes from AC to DC. So basically you have regular AC circuit breakers here like you'd have at home, and they're labeled, okay? Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC on this side. So you got fuses, 12 volt fuses, and they're all labeled. So this, when you're plugged in, this is going to convert your AC to DC power, because anything that can run on 12 volts DC in a trailer does, right? And also this is a battery tender, so it'll sense your how much your batteries need up there when it comes to energy, and if they're topped off, it'll just trickle a couple amps to maintain it. If they're low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever it needs to keep your batteries up front charged also. So remember, this charges your batteries when you're plugged in, and your tow vehicle's alternator charges them when you're going down the road. Okay. This is the range hood vent I told you about. Remember I told you you have to open the baffle so it flaps freely to the outside when you're venting. This works like any other microwave. Your oven is pretty typical of RV ovens and ranges. So let me just show you here. You have three burners and 3 knobs right here. This one is the sparker, which you turn clockwise to spark, right? And then this is your oven. Now I don't know if he's got the gas turned on. We'll find out here. If not, I'll just talk you through it. So you just basically turn it on, spark it. There was some gas in there, but it looks like he did shut it off. So anyway, they lit in the light when you spark it turning it clockwise, right? Then when you look at the oven, you're going to use the oven knob, which is all the way to the right. You can see you can spark it down here. All the way at the back is a pilot light, right, for the oven. So what you do is you'll go to the oven knob, you'll find the picture of the flame, which means pilot light. You'll depress it. Then you spark this by turning it clockwise till it lights down here. After it lights, you still hold this for another 10 seconds or so and then let it go. And you're all set. Go to whatever temperature you want. When you shut it out, the pilot light goes out. So you got to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Okay? Okay, so this table collapses. You push this yellow lever to the right and it'll unlock the hinges, and then you just collapse the table down onto these cleats here. Okay? You never travel with it in the up position. Always travel it in the down position so it doesn't bounce around and break something. It will. I mean, it'll put a dent or break a window, whatever. So you always put it in the stowed position when you travel, always. Okay? And then you have your theater seats here with powered footrests and all that sort of thing. Okay, let me look here. This over here, which I don't think I touched on, this is your carbon monoxide and LP gas detector right here. So you can see it's green. It should always be green. If not, get it serviced. If it goes off, it's detected carbon dioxide or LP gas buildup. So take everybody outside, leave the door open, shut the gas off at the front, and figure out what's going on. If it beeps the same tone but very slowly, it's telling you your batteries are low. It does 3 different things. So here we go. That's your LP test, good. Carbon monoxide coming up, good. And then of course your low battery alarm, same pitch slower. Okay, and back to green. It should always be green. Okay, gotta pick up the pace here. Bear with me. So you got a 4-speed vent in the bathroom. Everything else works like every other RV toilet and bathroom except for this here. This is the shower visor. What this does is circulates water between the water heater and here basically. So the idea is you're not going to just push the cold water or let the cold water flow down the drain into your storage tank. Therefore you're not wasting water in an area where there's drought while you're waiting for it to heat up, and you're not using space in your gray tank below with water that doesn't need to be in there. There's nothing wrong with it except it needed to be warmed up. So this will send it around. You'll have it in this position here. It'll send it around in a loop until it heats up. Once it heats up, this will change color. It'll turn to a beigeish color. When you see that, you know you're ready to use the shower. So then you just put it in the regular operating position and use it. But it just circulates the water around in a loop until it heats up. Therefore, you don't waste water while you're heating it up. Okay? Alrighty. This is a closet that's also pre-wired and plumbed for a washer-dryer combo if you wanted to add that. Okay, picking up the pace. We go to the bedroom. Much of this is self-explanatory. If you want to add, this is a 50 amp system, so if you want to add a second air conditioner, you can add it. That's what this is telling us here. It would drop right into this opening right here. So keep in mind that's where the second air conditioner would go if you added it. Okay. Also, it's saying there's a sensor location here. That just means there's wiring on the wall for a sensor. So the thermostat over there on the back wall, I don't know if you can see it, will be able to sense the temperature here if you add another air conditioner. Okay. Now, last but not least, or maybe not even last, see this right here? I was talking about the inverter. Right now, because this light is on, it's inverting power. Right now, there's no reason to be inverting power. We're not running anything on AC power. That can't be run, you know, we're plugged in, so everything would run off of that. So you hold it for a minute to shut it off. You don't just keep your finger on it and then see how it goes out like that. So it should be shut off. The only time you're going to turn it on is when you need to invert power, when you need to convert 12 volt DC into 110 AC, right? So if you were going to use an appliance that had to run on AC and you don't have any AC power because you're out in the middle of nowhere, you would just turn it on and do it, and then use it, and then when you're done, hold it for a minute to shut it off, and there you go. Okay, so that's the controller for the inverter. I know there's a lot to remember. You may know all this already, but when I'm doing these, I have to assume that you don't, because I don't want, you know, people who don't know it, I don't want them to not understand what I'm saying, so I have to go through it all. Okay, but I think that covers it. So, first of all, I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. And remember what I said about inspecting the roof every 90 days. That's very important. People generally don't do that enough, so make sure you take care of that. And right now the trailer's winterized. The water heater is empty and in bypass mode. Okay? Thank you.